I noticed it the moment he smiled. Not because it looked fake, but because it disappeared too quickly. That was the first time I realized, people don't hide things with their words. They hide them in everything else. I used to think I was pretty good at understanding people. At work, I'd read emails, tone, responses. I believed I could tell when someone was being honest or holding back. But in reality, I was just reacting to what people said, not what they showed. And most people are trained to say the right things. I work in a mid-sized office, nothing unusual. Same routines, same meetings, same polite conversations near the coffee machine. For years, I moved through it all on autopilot. Smile here, nod there, assume everything is fine. That was my default belief. If no one says something is wrong, then nothing is wrong. It felt simple. Comfortable. But also, wrong. I just didn't know it yet. It started with a new guy, Ethan. He joined our team quietly. Not shy, just contained. The kind of person who listens more than he talks. During meetings, he'd sit slightly back, observing, rarely interrupting. At first, I assumed he lacked confidence. That was my first mistake. One afternoon, we were sitting in a small team discussion. Our manager made a joke, everyone laughed. I laughed too. Ethan smiled. But something about it felt off. His mouth smiled, but his eyes didn't move. And within a second, it faded. I remember thinking, that didn't match. It was subtle. Almost invisible. But once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. That's when something shifted. I started paying attention, not just to Ethan, but to everyone. At first, it felt awkward. Like I was watching a movie too closely and noticing things I wasn't supposed to. I noticed how people nodded before they actually agreed. How some crossed their arms not out of defensiveness, but comfort. How silence said more than words ever could. It wasn't about judging, it was about observing. And slowly, patterns started forming. The first real moment came a week later. Ethan and I were assigned to a small project together. Nothing complicated. Just a few reports, some coordination, basic stuff. We sat across from each other. I explained an idea. He nodded. Yeah, that works, he said. Simple. Normal. But something felt off again. His words agreed, but his body didn't. He leaned back slightly. His arms rested loosely, but his fingers were tapping, fast, uneven. His eyes didn't stay on me, they shifted, just briefly, like his attention was elsewhere. I paused. Normally, I would have moved on. Taken the yes at face value. But this time, I didn't. I remember thinking, what if he doesn't actually agree? So I did something different. I said, or, we could approach it another way. What do you think? There was a pause. A real one. He looked at me again, this time more directly. Then he exhaled, just slightly. I mean, I wasn't sure your way would work long term, he admitted. And just like that, the truth came out. Not because he said it immediately, but because something in his behavior didn't match his words. That was the turning point. I realized something simple, but powerful. People rarely lie outright. But they almost always leak the truth. Not through words, but through small inconsistencies. And once you notice them, you can't go back. From that point on, I became more intentional. Not obsessive. Not paranoid. Just aware. I started noticing micro-reactions. Like when someone hears their name unexpectedly, their face changes for a split second before they control it. Or how people position their feet, not toward where they are, but where they want to go. One time, I was talking to a colleague, Sarah, about a team decision. She kept saying she was fine with it. But her body leaned slightly away. Her shoulders tightened. Her responses were delayed by half a second. It wasn't obvious. But it was consistent. So instead of accepting it, I asked gently, "You sure you're okay with it?" She hesitated. Then she said, "Honestly, not really." And again, there it was. Not hidden. Just waiting to be noticed. Over time, I started recognizing patterns, almost like quiet signals people send without realizing. Eye contact that lasts too long, or not long enough. A smile that appears late, or disappears early. Hands that stay still when they shouldn't, or move too much when they're nervous. None of these things mean something on their own. But together, they tell a story. And the more I listened to that story, the more I understood people, not just what they were saying, but what they were feeling. But the biggest realization wasn't about others. It was about me. One evening, I was having a conversation with a close friend. We were talking about something personal, something I usually brushed off. I said, "It's not a big deal." But as I said it, I felt it. My shoulders tightened. My voice dropped slightly. I looked away for just a second. And suddenly, I caught myself. That didn't match. For the first time, I wasn't just reading someone else. I was reading myself. And I realized. I do the same thing. We all do. We say we're fine when we're not. We agree when we're unsure. We smile when something feels off. Not because we want to lie. But because it's easier. Safer. That changed everything. Because once you see those signals, not as flaws, but as protection, you stop judging people for them. You start understanding them. I stopped trying to catch people in contradictions. Instead, I started giving them space to be honest. If someone said, "I'm okay," but didn't look it, I wouldn't push. I'd just create room. And most of the time, they'd fill it. Not immediately. But eventually. The strange thing is, the more I paid attention, the quieter everything became. Not in the world. But in my mind. I stopped overthinking words. Stopped analyzing messages. Stopped assuming. Because I realized, people are constantly telling you how they feel. Just not in the way you expect. It's not about tricks. It's about presence. About noticing the small things most people ignore. Like how someone's energy shifts when a topic changes. Or how their posture reflects comfort or distance. Or how their silence speaks louder than their voice. And the more I practiced this, the more something unexpected happened. People started opening up more. Not because I asked better questions. But because I was paying better attention. There's something about being seen, really seen, that makes people feel safe. Even if they don't know why. Looking back, I realize I didn't learn how to read people. I learned how to stop ignoring them. Most of us are taught to listen to words. But words are filtered. Edited. Controlled. Behavior isn't. It slips through in small ways, quick glances, subtle shifts, tiny pauses. And those small things? They're honest. Now, whenever I meet someone new, I don't focus on what they say first. I watch. Not in a suspicious way. Just, with curiosity. I notice how they react when they're interrupted. How they respond when they don't know the answer. How they behave when no one is watching closely. Because that's where the real story is. And here's the part that stayed with me the most. The goal isn't to read people to control them. It's to understand them, without forcing them to explain themselves. We all want to be understood. But very few people actually feel that way. Because most conversations happen on the surface. Words answering words. But underneath, there's always more. Sometimes, it's doubt. Sometimes, it's hesitation. Sometimes, it's something they don't even fully understand yet. And those things don't come out through talking. They show up in everything else. I still think about that first moment. That smile that didn't last. It was so small. So easy to miss. But it changed how I see people, completely. Now, I catch those moments everywhere. Not to analyze. Not to judge. Just to understand. And it makes me wonder. How many things have we missed? Just because we were only listening to words?